I've got a lot to tell y'all about tomatoes. Are you ready? Keep up. Let's go. Girls, this is gonna be a problem. To plant our tomatoes, we're first gonna weed the garden bed, apparently. But in this moment, I can't decide if I'd rather eat tomatoes or these damn chickens. If y'all have never tried growing orange zinger tomatoes, you're missing out. These little starts are already producing tomatoes. Orange zingers are by far the most prolific producing tomato that I've ever grown. And they're so good and they're so sweet. They're perfect for salads or making pastas. If you cut enough of them up, you can stick them on a sandwich or just eat them fresh from the garden. They get a little larger than the typical cherry tomato, and they are indeterminates. So you definitely want to trellis these. Tomatoes can either be determinate or indeterminate, like the orange zingers. Determinate tomatoes will only reach a certain size and usually produce all of their fruit at one time. Indeterminate tomatoes will just keep on growing and getting taller until they die. But as they get taller, they keep on producing fruit all the way up the stem. So you have a continuous harvest all the way through the season. Just remember to check the tag or the seedling packet of whatever tomatoes you decide to plant. That'll give you an idea if you need to trellis them or not. Of course, you can use tomato cages, but that gets a little pricey when you plant as many as we do. So I kept seeing these ideas about making garden trellises out of PVC. I thought it was such a great idea at the time, and since we had a bunch of T-posts and PVC laying around, we figured we'd give it a try. And it did work really well for a while. We did end up having to add support in the center because the tomatoes were just way too heavy. But the first time that we got a really bad storm, this trellis system held up about as well as Biden on a staircase. So this year, we're going to use cattle panels to trellis our tomatoes. I plant them about a foot apart, and I really just eyeball this. But I forgot something. I forgot my eggshells. I also have the brain of a bird. And never ground up new eggshells to finish out this run when I got more tomatoes. I have been doing this for years. Grinding up eggshells, that is, to plant with the tomatoes. Not that I forget things on a regular occasion.
You forget everything! And my birthday.
My dentist appointment. You forgot to take me to school today.
The one thing that I will never forget is how to block them out at times.
Mommy's messing with my star.
No, I'm not.
They will be probably okay. The reason that I grind up eggshells to plant with my tomatoes is because just like many fruits, tomatoes can get blossom end rot, and it's caused from a calcium deficiency in your soil. This makes the tomatoes pretty much inedible. A lot of people say just put crushed eggshells in your compost and it'll solve this problem. However, they can take years to break down, so I just grind it all up. Is it getting fast in here or is it just me? One of those little bullet grinders is definitely on my wish list, but this is what I have for now, and it's working just fine. And I've got powder. Because the root system is what takes up the calcium and puts it into the plant, this is gonna work way faster. Like, really fast. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, all jokes aside, I just pour about a tablespoon or more into a hole. You really cannot overdo it. Now, when I plant my tomatoes, I don't plant them right at soil level. I plant them way deeper, and I'll show you why. Have you ever noticed the little hairs that are on the stem of a tomato? Well, each one of those little hairs is capable of producing a root. They just have to touch soil. So before I plant my tomatoes, I take off all of the leaf stems, usually until I get to the top two. But this one has fruit on it that I know is going to ripen, so I'm just going to go up to the fruit. But leave enough room that the fruit isn't touching the ground. And because I grow mostly indeterminate tomatoes, whenever I'm shopping, I usually try and go for the tallest ones. That way I can plant them as deep as I want and get a really strong root system. So I'm going to take this one that I already pulled off all of the bottom leaves and drop it down into that pre-dug hole that has the eggshells in it. We did plantings in this bed last year, so I am still going to always replenish with some more compost and manure, and then just gently pack that down around our new little plant. And I just repeat that process with all of the tomatoes until I get them all planted up. You can use the same method when you're planting peppers or anything else that suffers from blossom end rot. I don't have my cattle panels yet, but I have to grab them from a friend. So I just laid down some tomato cages for now to deter the chickens, which didn't work as well as I thought it was going to, much like birth control. Karen. Thank you. Thank you. No, keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. If y'all learned anything from this video other than don't get chickens, then don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss my next video on how I trellis the tomatoes and how to sucker tomatoes. And don't forget to watch my sister's video on how to dress out a chicken. I just did, and it's gonna come in handy. Bye for now.